Hi, everybody. Welcome to Medium Day. um, so I'm going to speak for maybe 10 minutes or so and draw. As you can see, the setup has my desk, the old-fashioned kind of drawing with materials. Anyway, and then we'll have a lot of dialogue in the second half, and you can ask me questions by hitting that. Which button is it? The blue button at the bottom right of your screen, and I will try to answer or address your thoughts, as many as I can. So good to see you all here. A lot of people. It's great. So anyway, I just did the math the other day, and I realized I've been publishing with Medium for 10 years. And I love this platform, and it's been a platform that's helped me continue to find my voice as our media changes. And I've seen a lot of changes in my time. Is it still working? Yes, good. I have a feeling it doesn't work when my hand's not there, but I don't know. Technology is always fun and challenging. So for me, Medium asked me to speak about finding your voice, and it's been a lifetime of doing that. And but for me, I think the key things to keep in mind are it's about connection with others, and it's also about staying connected with yourself, and as to why you're doing this. Why are you writing? Why are you drawing? What are your motivations? And try to keep attentive to that. And so by extension, you need to listen to yourself and you need to listen to others. So that's really the best. And hopefully that kind of connection and dialogue enriches not only what you create, but also helps you find your voice. So let me start by just sharing a little background on how I started briefly and how I initially found my voice or found a voice. Let's see, it's always changing, right? So these are the same kind of tools I used most of my career. But I started out as a really shy kid. And I'm hoping this is not too light a pen. Really shy kid who didn't want to talk to people. And I found that by drawing, I could not only would people leave me alone, I could communicate. And can you see that well enough? It's pretty faint. But it's always a challenge to draw and talk at the same time, but I can do it. So my mother gave me a book of cartoons by a New Yorker cartoonist named James Thurber, who is since long gone. But I started tracing his work, and my mother smiled, and I was hooked. So that's how I started. And so it from the very beginning, my work and my attraction to this thing called drawing had to do with connecting with somebody else. In that case, it was my mother. And then I went on to draw more for my classmates. Let's see, I'm looking for a brush. See, these are some of my tools. Can you? Right, there we can see them. And just let's see. Should I use color? No, I use black and white right now. Where was I? So I learned to communicate by drawing, and I did it for my classmates, and I did it through college, and then I started submitting to the New Yorker. I moved to New York. I got a job at a museum, and I started submitting to the New Yorker. In those early years, I was just always drawing, and that's the thing, is you really need to always keep drawing, and that's another theme that I'm going to mention a lot. And the thing about the New Yorker is it has a wonderful process. It's aggravating, but it also has its beauty. You submit cartoons, a batch of drawings every week, and they either buy one or they don't. So they're not assigning you anything. They're not telling you what to draw. You're drawing for yourself, and you are drawing a lot because, generally speaking, there's no written rule, but it's understood that you should. There's no should to it. That it's best if you submit 5 to 10 or more if you want. Depends on where your editing process is, whether you edit in your head or you edit on paper, and so by drawing a lot like that and submitting what you think is funny, I mean, you obviously are aware of your editors and what the New Yorker publishes, so you have a general understanding of what that publication is looking for. But one of the things that attracted me to the New Yorker in the beginning, because I knew about it when I was growing up, and I was aware of it in college, and then I looked at it more closely. I think I really realized that the New Yorker treats its contributors as artists, and actually they call the cartoonists artists, and I really like that. There's a freedom to that. There's a do what you want. Of course, we're not gallery artists. You have to have in mind your audience. You have to sort of keep in mind who you're drawing for, but try not to let it rule you and direct you. You try to do what you think is funny. So where was I? I'll draw you something with a brush now, which has a whole another feel. So the New Yorker process of submitting a lot every week, and then having them buy one or not, helps you do a lot of work, figure out what you like to draw, what you think is funny, and then the New Yorker chooses one. There's a lot of rejection, and that's hard. So you get used to rejection. You get used to things like, well, why didn't they buy that one? That was a perfect cartoon. That was a perfect drawing. It was really funny. I liked it. But they didn't buy it. So you have to learn to move on to the next thing. Do what you want to do now. Do the best you can do now. And if it doesn't fly, it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. So, can you see that? Yeah. So the New Yorker process is helpful. It's hard, but it's helpful. It helps you refine your voice over time. So I got into the New Yorker about 2 years after I started submitting, and it still was a rough time. I did not sell every day or every week by any stretch. It was tough, but I got in there, and I was consistent, and I was sort of a regular, and drawing along over the years, and then 9/11 happened, and I want to do you a drawing about that. 9/11 was life-changing for so many people. I know. This out of the way. But for me, I questioned what I was doing, whether I wanted to be a cartoonist anymore. And then I did a drawing. Let's see, do up here. I hope you can see this. I'm going to use a bigger pen so you can. But so there's going to be things in the road that make you rethink your purpose. As I said, keep in touch with why you're doing this. And so 9/11 made me really question why am I doing this. And I did a drawing. I'll do a recreation of it right here. And it changed everything for me. Let's see. This is back when a lot of people read newspapers in print. This is just can you see it? A rough recreation of the drawing that actually helped me get back on track. This is another type of crow quill pen. These are called crow quills. Can you see them? Yeah. It's a dip pen. And so I did this drawing, and I had done political cartoons for the New Yorker before. They were typical New Yorker political cartoons where they were mostly about how politics affects individuals, not so much about criticizing governments or rulers or anything. So this man is sitting there with a lot of newspapers, and he's got the TV on behind him, and it's a bookshelf. Lots of stuff going on TV. So he's obviously steeped in the news. And this is his daughter, and she's saying, "Daddy, can I stop being worried now?" And this was published in the magazine about 2 months after 9/11, and it made me feel like I had a purpose again. Like like, okay, I know it's just one cartoon, but it for me personally, I checked in again with, why am I doing this? And why am I doing this is to connect with others. And this is how we were feeling right after 9/11. It was a really horrible time, and many of you probably, I know, were there. So this 9/11 also coincided with the rise of the internet for us normal people. And so a lot of the time I began to do more, I decided to do, after 9/11, I decided to do more political cartoons. And if the New Yorker didn't want them, I would publish them elsewhere. So times change. You have to listen to yourself, listen to what's going on around you, and move with the times. So I did a lot more experimentation. I did a lot more drawings about let's see, another part of this paper here, about what I was seeing going on around the world. And one thing that was going on around the world is we were really paying attention more and more to women's rights. I was always a feminist, but what should I use now? I haven't used color yet. I'm going to use this. This is a charcoal pencil. And so women's rights, I was listening to women's rights, learning more, and I started drawing more about women around the world, and changed my voice. Didn't change completely, because I was still drawing regular cartoons for the New Yorker, but I started doing more stuff on the internet for places like Medium. Medium didn't exist quite yet, but it was about to exist, and drawing more about women. So finding your voice is constantly listening and expressing yourself, and a back and forth with you and your audience. And I think, can you see that? I'll just be quiet for a second. A lot of talking. The reason why I used a pencil is because I wanted to put some color in here. So there's different kinds of color that, if you're interested, can you see this? This is called a dye, which is a concentrated watercolor. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're way over. But I wanted to yeah, so what I'm saying, if you use a pencil, the ink doesn't bleed. Something nice about the silence, isn't there? So I was moving with the times, and again checking into myself, like, why am I doing this? I'm doing more and more work online, and I began to write more, and that's where Medium comes in. I started writing more and combining the writing with the cartoons. And the thing about the advent of the internet for creative people is, for me, it's been liberating, because because there are no gatekeepers in many cases. Medium and other sites like it don't have, a senior editor that tells you we don't want this. You publish what you think is good, and you are your own editor. And your audience, I'm not suggesting that you create directly for your audience, but you try to make that balance between what you think is important and or funny, and hopefully it will connect with your audience, because again, it's about connection. A lot of what you do won't resonate, and that's with the New Yorker, and I started out there. A lot of 90% of my work didn't get bought. I don't know the actual percentage, but it was high. And the same will be true with your writing online, is that or drawing, is that some people won't get it, they won't be interested, but that's part of the course. You're trying to find your voice, and a voice that connects with others, is how I see it. So many people, I'll just wrap this up with, many people ask me how I come up with my ideas. And when I'm starting to search for something to draw about or write about, I think about, like, what do I want to say? What is of interest to me? What is funny to me? What do I want to figure out? What am I thinking about? And what's going on in the world that we are all looking at together or thinking about? And then hopefully that's something that will resonate with other people. And usually it will in many cases, because we're all people, we're all human. We all have the same issues. Many of us, we all have the same worries, concerns, obsessions, senses of humor. And that's what you're trying to do, is connect with other people. Chances are people will have the same feelings about whatever it is as you do. So it's a back and forth. But the important thing, I believe, in finding your voice is to just keep doing it. Just keep creating. You're going to make some bad things. You're going to create things that aren't funny, or articles that are not that interesting for other people. But you do it and you move on to the next thing. And that's how you find your voice, by constantly exploring and experimenting. I'm just going to do one more drawing for you, and then I'll take questions. What I also thought was interesting to mention with ideas, and maybe it applies to writing as well. I'm not sure, probably doesn't, but let's see. Turn this over. Is random collisions of ideas. When you start coming up with an idea, and I have no idea what I'm going to draw right now. I tried to make my head really blank, and which kind of pen will I use? Is it still working? Yes. What should I draw? Okay. I admit I like drawing cats, so I'm starting with a cat. I don't quite know what the cat's going to be doing. Can you see it? Make sure you can see it. I think I'm going to put the cat on a bicycle. And don't judge my bicycle drawings. That's the thing, is you just do your best, and people are going to say, that's not how the bicycle goes. No, I'm sure it's not. But in cartooning, the wonderful thing about cartooning is that you can make stuff up. And as long as it's within the realm of reality, or recognizable, in other words, that kind of looks like a bicycle, right? So then you have to think, so I put this cat on a bicycle, and then you have to think of what this cat is saying or thinking, or maybe there'll be another animal here, or a person here saying something to the cat. That's how I come up with, one way anyway, how I come up with a cartoon idea, is let your mind relax, think about the first thing that comes in your head. It might be an image, it might be a word, and put it down, and you just let the idea take you where it wants to go. So, all right. Well, let's see. Anybody have any questions? I don't see any questions. Nobody has any questions? We have 10 more minutes. Should I just keep drawing for you? Could I have this cat? I think, I don't know. Temptation is to put another animal in the picture. And we see that it's moving because his tail is suspended like that. And I was thinking about his whiskers. So we also know he's moving because his whiskers are sort of like that. I could make his whiskers. And I'm not showing the whiskers on the other side because it would make it look like he's just static. And I don't have anything for that yet. So that's the other thing, is be patient with yourself. If you can't think of how it should go, the written piece or the cartoon or whatever, put it away and do something else and come back to it. Be patient with yourself and trust yourself. Still no questions. Maybe I'm not seeing the questions. Let's see, draw something else. Sometimes to start an idea, you think about what something we all have in common. Oh, I wanted to mention, I'm sorry, this is what I'll do. I was going to talk about just drawing regular, where is it? Here it is. Regular things in life, and then finding something funny in that. I wanted to show you my iPad. I have drawn with the advent of the internet, and this is not showing up very well. I have used an iPad a lot, not for finished work for the New Yorker, but for live drawing, and I live draw. Let's see. It's not connected. I live draw out in the world events. I've been to the Oscars numerous times, the Grammys, the White House, live drawing what I see and then putting it on social media immediately. So is it working? Darn. Not have much luck. There we go. This is a mini iPad. I have a big one, but this is a mini. Drawing what I see and putting it out immediately on social media, and that's a way to connect with people. They can be there with you. And I even draw on the subway in New York City, and since there's internet down there now, you can post that online and immediately, and people can share in what you're experiencing, and it's just another connection. This app is called Paper, and I like it because it's very simple. And you can also do a video screen grab with this. Lots of colors, infinite colors. So I love the iPad. I love pen and ink. It's all about play and experimentation and testing things, trying things. And you're going to make mistakes, but so what? Just move on. Move on to the next thing. No more questions? So let's see if I can show you some of my subway drawings. I don't know if they're... I don't think they're downloaded. The thing is learning how to adapt to change and learning how to listen to what's positive out there and and what's inside of your brain and your heart, and making sure they connect in a way that feels right to you. Um, there's a lot of noise out there, and it's hard to get past the noise, but you can only do what you can do, and you just try to do the best you can and keep moving forward, as I said. No questions? I'm surprised. Let's see, subway drawings. There we are. So when I draw my subway drawings, let's see, they are, it's not very much in focus, is it? Oh, sorry. They are often with my finger. They are usually, almost always, with my finger on my phone. I can draw on my phone. This is a mini iPad, but let's see, I can find another one. Isn't this app great? There's a family, and it's about the experiences. My drawings are loose, but that's because I like them that way, and I like it's about the moment in time. It's not trying to render something perfectly. It's about expressing with a drawing, with a line. Oh, this is interesting. This woman. Sometimes it's just an ordinary person. Sometimes it's somebody that's really doing it up with their clothes. She was playing a ukulele, I think. So let me do one more drawing for you in the last few minutes we have. I didn't draw with pastels. I brought some pastels out in case I wanted to try that with you. This is an old box of pastels that I don't usually use in my work, in my drawing work. Let's see. But it's fun to experiment. This is blue, so I'm going to draw. You see it? Too many things on my desk. When I was little, of course, I loved Dr. Seuss, but I used to make up animals because I was also interested in natural history. So I used to make up animals, and this is a made-up bird. Sorry. Yeah. And I'm leaving the best for last because I'm going to try to make it perfect. There we go, his eye, or her eye. And with pastels, you can also use your finger. Oops, see, it bled. Anyway, thank you for being here. And I'm really happy I could draw for you and talk to you and give you some thoughts on how to find your voice. It's about listening to yourself, being patient with yourself, experimenting, and having a dialogue with your readership and your viewers. And dialogue in not in a literal sense necessarily, but a dialogue. So thanks for being here. And I hope you have a great day at Medium Day. And I will see you hopefully on Medium. Take care.